Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Coast to Coast. How you doing, Beyond?
I'm doing okay. How about yourself?
I feel like
Been
we
a
keep
been
meeting
a
like
week.
this, man. Yeah,
I know. It feels like Groundhog Day all of a sudden around here.
yeah. You know, the things we talked about, the things we talked about when it came down to what it took for us to win. We actually we did most of it. I gotta look at the numbers for Swift, but I thought we did it solid. I thought we did a solid job on the Eagles run game. But
Hmm.
at any rate, dude, 6-6 at the bye week, man.
Whittle, if
Six
I
and
would have
six at the
told,
bye week.
we know touchdowns are down across the board, for quarterbacks, et cetera. If I told you 33 touchdowns for Josh, almost 70% completion at the bye after 12, what do you think our record is? 8-4,
Uh
9-3. I mean, right?
yeah,
I
nine and
mean,
three.
9-3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think probably 9-3, and we're going to get into this game, and there's just so many things and so many reasons to discuss. I mean, where do we begin, Whittle? I mean, where do you want
Um
to start?
well, let's start with the keys to victory, right? So
Mhm.
the things that we talked about with the keys to victory, right? We wanted Josh not to turn the football over. We wanted him to have a clean game. He had one interception.
Mhm.
I'm not tripping about it, man. It was a great play by the defense. Whatever, right?
Mhm.
We said the Bills had to score at least 31 points, or they had to get over. I said they needed to get over 27, preferably 30.
Mhm.
They scored 34 points, right? Um, I said that they needed to keep Swift under 80 yards rushing. He had 80 yards total rushing for 14 carries. Um, and we still lost. And we still lost. The Bills scored 34 points, right? Josh has a huge game. Uh
And you held
Swift,
Jalen Hurts to 200
yeah,
yards passing,
yeah,
which is modest, for a guy of his ilk, right? I mean,
yeah, yeah. So the Josh Allen is tied with the for the NFL lead in interceptions. Um, he is extremely this year he has been extremely unlucky. Um, his turnover worthy throws are considerably low for the amount of interceptions that he has. Basically, nearly every turnover worthy throw is getting picked off. And then even some of the plays that are not turnover worthy are becoming turnovers as well. The throw to Gabe Davis that went through his hands, that throw to Stephon Diggs was an excellent read by the James Bradbury. Dude, I mean, we keep talking about this. We keep saying how it's got to change. It's got to turn around at some point. Luck will turn in the favor of the Buffalo Bills, and it just has. It just hasn't. And I still think this is one of the best rosters in football.
mhm.
I think that Josh Allen is still a top three quarterback, whether you want to have him at 2 or 3. Um, I think that Joe Brady is doing a great job with the offense. I think that given the injuries, Sean McDermott has done an excellent job with the defense. I think this is the best offensive line the Buffalo Bills have had since 2016 when they led the league in rushing, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, Yet and still we're 6-6. With losses to the Jaguars, loss to the Patriots, um, the Bengals, the Broncos, the Jets, and now the Eagles. Um, at 6-6, we sit currently at 10th in the AFC. On the outside looking in, I think our chance to make it into the playoffs is like 21%. We got like a 6% chance at the division. But at the end of the day, man, whatever. It's not over. I still have faith. But the hourglass is almost out, man. I mean, the sand is almost done. If they're gonna make a move, they got to do it quick. They got to do it now, and it starts in Kansas City. What are your thoughts so far on the season up to this point?
Well, a lot of people are gonna, if the season is not a success, they're gonna look at Sunday, point to Sunday. But to me, Sunday was still a culmination of the losses we had earlier in the season, the New England game, the Denver game. Because let's be honest, Whittle, if we don't let Mac Jones go down the field, right? If we have 11 men on the field for a missed field goal kick, we're sitting here at 8-4, and we're saying, man, that was a tough loss. Great, Eagles team defending NFC champions, 9-1. We're good. Brush that off. We're going to go to Kansas City in 2 weeks, right? But that game became so critical because of the mistakes we made over the last 7 weeks that led up to this. And is that a reflection of coaching? Is that a reflection of injuries? Is it probably a little bit of everything, right? When you really think about it, right? So, I mean, this particular loss, that there's what's crazy about it is there's so many positives to take away from this game too, right? I mean, Josh Allen was, I mean, he was dealing. I mean, he was an artist out there on Sunday. I mean, even that throw to Cooks, the one he dropped in the first quarter, that was one of the best passes of the year from Josh. That was a beautiful, it was a
Yeah,
beautiful drop. I mean, just laid that beautifully right in there, and it's just we keep talking about the little things, Whittle, that we have one of the top five rosters in football. I don't care what anybody tells me. We know it. The analytics show it, right? The numbers show it. We have one of the top quarterbacks in the league. We have playmakers. We have what we need to make a big run. But 6-6, I sit back and like, how is this even possible, right? But is there light at the end of the tunnel? Who knows? We've seen it done recently. The 2021 Buccaneers were 6-6. They got throttled by the Chiefs. They played us the week after in that infamous game where we lost to them in overtime. And the Buccaneers took that game and went on to go to Super Bowl and win it. I believe the Giants in one of their Super Bowl years, Whittle, were 6-6 as well, if I remember correctly. They had some, terrible losses in the middle of the season. They were talking about firing
right.
Coughlin. You remember that living in New York, right? So, maybe those are things we could, still draw on, but those are things that right now are just so far fetched. We just have to focus on Kansas City next week or 2 weeks, excuse me. I keep
100%.
forgetting.
Yeah, 2 weeks, a bye week. So the Eagles game. You're so right about some of the games that we dropped earlier in the year, and that makes the loss that we just took on Sunday a lot tougher than it actually needed to be. So if I gotta go and look at this Eagles game, I gotta say, I say to myself, like, man, we played well enough to win that game. We should have won that game. The game was there for us to take, and uh, you know, there were a few things that there were some ways that we should have and could have executed better. Uh, we left 13 points on the floor, on the field in the first half. The touchdown to Cook that he dropped, that's a touchdown. I mean, the like you just explained, Josh placed it in a spot where only he could get it. If he makes that catch, he walks in and scores. You know, um, there was a blocked field goal for whatever reason. Tyler Bass kicks a line drive instead of getting some lift on it. It's a shorter field goal. I think it was under 40 yards. Like, dude, just put some lift in it and get the ball through the uprights. Um, and then there was the one that he just flat out missed. So That's 13 points that we left off the board. We walked into halftime with a 17-7 lead. You add 13 to that, that's 30-7. It's a blowout. It's over. At that point, if we capitalize on the opportunities presented to us, despite everything else that happens in that game, we walk into halftime with a 30-7 lead. That game's over with. It's over. It's over already. But we don't. Uh the officiating. I I don't want to blame the officials or blame calls, but Jesus, man, that was really, really bad. It was bad to the point that, like my buddy, like my boy Jada was in here for the pod last week.
Hmm.
Even he was like, bro, like, yeah,
Hmm.
those calls were pretty horrible. Even some of the most diehard Eagle fans out there that we talk to on a regular basis, Coach T, Mills, shout out to y'all. Even free, shout out to you, T Smith. The Eagles fans that we know on Twitter. Um, Even some of y'all came back and was like, "Yeah, man, the refs kind of hold y'all in that game," and it was terrible. It was really, really bad. Um, the horse collar that the horse collar that turned into intentional grounding. That's like a 30-yard swing, knocks us out of I think it knocked us out of did we get a field goal out of that? I don't think we got a field goal out of that.
No, because that was the one that Bass was it missed or blocked? I think that one was
Oh
blocked, if I remember
yeah,
correctly.
yeah. So
Hmm.
yeah, man, I mean, stuff like that.
Hmm.
Some blatant pass interference calls,
Hmm.
an egregious holding in McGovern. Um, you know, just a few things like that, man. It just kind of
It didn't set us up for success. I mean, you're right. I'm not going to sit here and completely say that's the reason we lost, right? Because we know that's not the truth, right? We had
do we?
oppor- well, somewhat. I would say somewhat. I thought another key in this game, Whittle, was second half. You could tell the Eagles were flat a little bit early, right? No, Lane Johnson's out. They were struggling a little bit without him. Remember we talked about how the Eagles might be flat for this game, big win after the Chiefs, etc. We
Yep.
come out in the third quarter, 3 and out, we get the ball back, right? I thought that was the moment we needed to pounce on them as well. Despite all the things in the first half with the calls, right? We had the ball, we're driving down, and we get to their 30. We stall on 3 straight passes, and then Bass misses the 48-yarder. And I think when you give a team like the Eagles that, it's like, wait a minute, we're sitting here down by 10. The way the Bills have been playing, we still got a shot, right? The Eagles have been doing this all year, and I think that gave them that little bit of an in, and then they came right down the field and scored, and then right from there, then they believe that they're back in this game. We could have knocked them out right then and there. And you're right, the calls did not help us in the first half. We could have knocked them out earlier if we got some better love from the refs. I mean, how does Josh Allen throw 51 times and there's only one penalty? And it was him almost embellishing a late hit, right? Well, that was the only call that we got when Josh Allen threw the ball the whole game. 51 attempts. I mean, that absolutely amazes me. Not sure if we are you there? Are we
All right,
back?
we back.
There
Yeah,
we go.
yeah, yeah. We're
All
back.
right.
We're back.
No, no worries. Good. I wasn't sure if it was you or me, so I want to make sure.
Are we back? Okay. All right,
Yep.
we're back.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's,
All right. So
there's
we got dropped off. No, go
so
ahead. Go ahead,
basically
man.
we no, just to sum that up again real quick, it was just, the refs obviously didn't help us. And the one point I was bringing up was the 51 attempts by Josh Allen. And the only penalty we got was Josh Allen embellishing a late hit call. Let's be honest, he did flop a little bit. We have to be honest about it, right?
Oh
Which
yeah.
I'm never crazy about that. I don't like it in basketball. I don't like it in hockey. I never liked it in soccer, but we know it's there. We know guys are doing it, but to think about 51 attempts, we didn't get one holding call against the Eagles. We didn't get one pass interference against the Eagles. We didn't get, illegal contact to the Eagles. 51 attempts, I got to think there's a couple in there somewhere, right? Where you call something against them. So that was that was alarming to me. This goes beyond just this game, Whittle. There's a refereeing problem throughout the league right now, and that has to be addressed this offseason for sure.
I don't know.
I know.
I don't know, man. Listen, we covered the spread, so right.
Hey, there you
Eagles
go.
covered the
Right?
spread,
Yeah.
bro. It's so. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theory person, but when people say things like "this is rigged," "it's rigged," the script is out. When you see what that game was, kind of like, all right, come on now, like this is like this is WWE type. You paid the refs type stuff. Like I don't know, man. But anyway,
It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. Absolutely. Especially
100%.
when you could see Josh is dialed in, you could see the offense is clicking the way it is. And, just to have a couple of those egregious calls against us, really, yeah, the blood was boiling, I'm sure all of us were.
Yeah, for sure. I gotta go, and now we got to talk about Sean McDermott. But before I get to, we're gonna talk about the coaching. Before we get to Sean McDermott, flowers yet again for Joe Brady. I'm a believer. This man has his offense cooking. It's cooking with gas. It's cooking with Crisco. They are. I mean, it just the offense has a purpose. They are calling. He's calling plays that build off of each other. So what he does in the first quarter, he will use again in the third and fourth quarter with different variations and wrinkles to give the defense a similar look but a different outcome, and it leads to success. He's done a very good job. 2 weeks against two good defenses. He's looked great. The offense hasn't tailed off in the second half. They've still been able to execute, and he has not had an opportunity to really put he put his footprint on this in this offense yet. I expect him to do that over the bye. So kudos to Joe Brady. Would you like to? What are your thoughts on Joe Brady so
I
far?
mean, we got to give him an A so far, right, Whittle? I mean, 32 points against one of the top defenses in the league, the Jets, that have given us a lot of problems over the last couple of years off and on, right? And then again, like you said, in Philadelphia, one of the best teams in the league, right? If not the, I mean, they're 10-1, so you got to just say it, right? I think he's done, and considering the conditions weren't that great either. When I saw the rain, I was like, oh, it's gonna hurt our passing offense. It's gonna hurt Josh, but it really did not. So, and I agree with you. The wrinkles you could see, and I like his just enough commitment to the run, right? Just a little bit more than what Dorsey would do. And again, it's not always about the big sexy play, right? Sometimes it's just about getting 4 yards. Like we've talked about this a lot, right? And like you said, it leads, and he said he's setting things up. And I don't know, did you see the pass chart for Josh this game where the dots are? I mean, it was all over the field, right? So you could tell the play design is definitely getting better just based on that alone. So that was incredibly encouraging.
Right. Um. So let me say this. Uh, the offense looked awesome. Even the plays that didn't work out were still like, oh wow, like that was a really good play call. There was a play to Kincaid where the throw got away from Josh. He let Kincaid a little too far, and defenseless receiver penalty not called. Don Kincaid got his head
Yeah,
taken off.
that was rough. That was rough.
Yeah, Don Kincaid got his head taken off, and yeah, so that play, but that was a great play call. Dalton Kincaid was wide open. And I gotta now, where I give credit to Sean, do I give credit to Joe Brady, I got to go to the other side of the football and look at what Sean McDermott did on the defensive side. I thought early on the defense was juiced up. The pass rush was there. It was getting home. We were really doing a great job against the run. Kept it bottled up. We did a good job on Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts had like 33 yards or something in the first half. Like, I mean, we did everything you needed to do in order to win. In the first half, there were plays, however, that uh sort of there were some alarming plays. There were a couple plays where Rasul Douglas looked like he was lost. He looked like he had no idea where he was or what was going on. There were multiple plays where um, guys up front just kind of got blown off the line. There were plays where the safeties kind of lost track of their guy, and it ended up costing us. Those are mishaps. Not just the safeties, but Dodson as well. He got burnt a couple of times. That was bad, man. It was pretty bad. The second half, at least, they made an adjustment, and Sean McDermott did not continue to. He did not continue to be aggressive. I really felt like I wanted to see man to man on the receivers with like a shell coverage from the safeties and the linebackers over the middle of the field, which would then force him to use the outside of the field or to use the, throw to the sidelines and work those things, which against man coverage, those are dangerous, dangerous throws. There was no adjustment to that. I didn't understand why, but I'm not a head coach. So, yeah, it's just, and when you go and look back at this game, if we end up missing the playoffs, you're gonna look back at this game. You're gonna look back at the Denver game, and you're gonna look directly at the coach and say, "Dude, you screwed up here. You screwed up. 12 men on the field when we got the missed kick against Denver. That you screwed up." Josh Allen has 340 yards with 20 seconds left to go in the game and a timeout at the 25-yard at Buffalo's 25, and we need to get 45 yards down the field. Sean McDermott decides to kneel and play for overtime on the road against the best team in football from a record standpoint. Makes no sense. No sense at all. They asked him about it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna just quickly interject that I would have liked to see near Whittle, even like and again, I'm not a good play designer. That's your forte. Even like a 10, 15-yard play. Let's say you drop back Josh 3-4 steps, right? You say, you know what? Go to the sideline, right? Make a throw where only that receiver can make the play, right? If it's there. If it's not there, tell Josh, say, hey, look at it quickly. If you see nothing, get outside, and just toss it away. No, no intentional grounding or anything. But even if you do get intentional grounding, it's okay because then we can just kneel the ball after that. Okay, didn't work. Even just one effort would have been sufficient, right? We still had a timeout, right? If you get to like the 35-40, now I got a timeout. Now I could have Josh go down the middle of the field for 20, 30 yards and at least give Bass a shot with like 2 seconds left, right? At least something to get, give it a shot. And that bothered me the most. Just the total kneel. I was shocked. I texted my buddy. I said, honestly, if we lose this game, I may want McDermott fired. Like I was getting to that point.
Yeah. So he screwed away one of the timeouts right before they ended up making the 60-yard field goal. Icing the kicker, like it makes no sense. They don't have timeouts. They have to get out there and make a field goal. It's raining, the conditions are wet, and you give this guy an extra 60 seconds to get comfortable with the ground, to put move the grass around or set his footing just the way he wants it, go through a couple of practice runs, and then you like he helped the Eagles out. He helped the
Mhm.
Eagles out on that. And that just that pissed me off, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. That really pissed me off. Um, and then you follow up like we really could have used that second timeout because let me. All right, so remember the play where Shakir scored the touchdown against the Jets?
Mhm.
You could have ran something like that, where you
Yeah.
where you're attacking the middle of the field, you're putting the safety in the corner in conflict, and they have to make a decision on who they're gonna cover. They're gonna cover the deep guy, so you throw to the underneath guy. It's still a 20-25 yard gain. You get down, you get a timeout in. If you have two timeouts, you can run that play. And now you're talking about, having a ball at the 45-yard line. You need another first down, and maybe you lost 8 seconds on the clock, but you have a timeout. So now you can spread them out, and they can't drop more than 7 in coverage. They can't do it because you got to keep a spy on Josh. So you spread them out. Maybe you keep Cook back there as a guy that leaks out after, just to draw a defender away. And then Josh can take off, slide, get down. He's at the 40, he's at the 38-yard line, slide, get down, timeout. You got 2 seconds to kick a field goal now.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
And the
Give your
Eagles had
guys
no timeouts either. The Eagles had no
none,
timeouts. So that's the other thing.
none.
If they had timeouts, I could see it. Maybe I could understand Sean's trepidation there, but they didn't have any timeouts.
Yeah, you got a top 3 quarterback, man. And he's got a resume of coming through in times like that. You gotta give him a chance. You gotta give him a chance. Um, so the I believe that the consensus from coast to coast is Sean McDermott needs to go. Is that fair? Am
I'm
I right?
pretty much listen. I'm pretty much there, and you know, I want to say this really quick. Sean McDermott hasn't been all that. I mean, he's done a lot of good things for us, right? But we've seen with other organizations, sometimes some really good coaches just that's it, right? So maybe Sean McDermott has another stop in him. Maybe he's more successful. We've seen it with coaches like Tony Dungy in Tampa Bay, which that wasn't totally his fault, but you get what I'm saying. You make the change. Sometimes you just need to make the change for the
Right.
change. Something's not working. We've seen it with, Andy Reid left. Remember, Andy Reid in Philadelphia. A lot of people forget he made some really head scratching decisions in a lot of games for a lot of
Yeah.
years in Philadelphia. I listened to 610 IP in Philadelphia. I heard all the calls. Believe me, it was unbelievable the stuff that he was doing. Not saying McDermott's going to be Reid necessarily. I'm just saying that, Reid needed to leave Philadelphia, and I think we're kind of there with McDermott. He's done a very good job. His record has been excellent, right? He's restored the credibility in our franchise.
Hmm.
He's been a fairly significant part of that. 5 playoff appearances in 6 years, right? But you can't ignore the 8-15 in one score games. We can't excuse these late decisions that we see, right? And we also had a question from Pat in the chat about his opinion about the defense not being able to get off the field late to secure the win. That kind of ties into what we're talking about with McDermott right here. Um, in terms of this is one of the big negatives of the McDermott era, right? I mean, think about all the games that we've lost, the excruciating losses we've had. That's the common thread. So, what do you think it's a scheme thing? What do you think it's the personnel we have? Do you think it's a little bit of both? Is it what do you think of that?
Um, Me personally, I lay this at the feet of the coach. I think if the coach can get the defense to produce throughout the game, where they're getting stops, they're getting off the field, they're creating turnovers, they're doing all these different things. Um, there's no reason to stop it. There's no reason to stop playing defense that way in the late game situations. When we were aggressive against Kansas City last year defensively, we gave them a combo coverage, and Von Miller flushed Pat Mahomes out of the pocket. He reads man to man on his left. He lets the receiver travel across the linebackers. He throws the ball because he thinks it's man-to-man coverage. It's actually zone on the other side, interception. But that does not happen if you don't take a chance. I am always going to err on the side of being aggressive defensively when you have a quarterback like Josh Allen, because I would, if you're going to beat me, I want you to beat me in 2 plays, 2 or 3 plays, not 8 or 9. I don't want you to have the ball for 8 or 9 plays. Give me the opportunity to get my quarterback on the field to go back and get the lead. If I lose it because I'm aggressive. Now, if I'm turning up the heat, if I'm throwing different coverage looks at you, yes, I run the risk of you getting a big play. I do. But I also turn up the probability of you screwing up and giving me the football. And that ends the game. Speaking of ending the game on a turnover, AJ Brown catches the pass over the middle. Dotson grabs him. AJ Brown takes 2 steps, turns to go upfield. Dotson punches the ball out as AJ Brown turns upfield. It's ruled the incomplete pass. That exact same thing happened in the Sunday night game to Keenan Allen, and the Ravens were awarded with a fumble. At the point that happened, that game is now over.
Mm-hmm.
That game is over because that's a fumble. It's our ball. They don't have timeouts. It's over. It's done. We win, right? But we, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I mean, McDermott is. I guess let's pivot to that a little bit. Where do you think this organization is? If Now we did see a tweet from Benjamin Albright, and he's pretty reputable. Said that the seat is getting warm, for McDermott. I mean, what do you? I mean, let's just do a hypothetical. We finished 9-8. We missed the playoffs. Do you think we pull the trigger on McDermott, or do you think he's bought himself another year, considering his success over the last 5-6 years?
I think all the success over the last 7 years he's been here, plus the fact that we had major injuries. If I'm Terry Pagula, this is how I'm looking at it. I'm saying clearly we have the right OC now because the offense looks amazing. Defensively, prior to Trey White and Matt Milano and Daquan Jones getting hurt, that defense was top 3, top 5 in football.
Mm-hmm.
So if I got a top 5 defense, a top 3 offense, top 3 quarterback, I'm gonna win. We're gonna win. So that's if I'm Terry Pagula, that's how I'm looking at it. If I'm also Terry Pagula, I'm looking at this Jordan Phillips situation toward the end of the game at Philly, the interaction with the fans. I've seen multiple videos from the fans' point of view, from what the media is saying, and from what Jordan Phillips and those guys are saying. I'm sorry. I don't agree. Like, I do think the fans say some things that they shouldn't say. However, Jordan Phillips was going after those fans all night. He was making it his business to try to get them kicked out. He's making it his business to interact with them. And you have to treat the fans the way we treat Twitter trolls. You just don't let them have access. You ignore them. You let them say what they need to say, and you let them and you ignore it.
Yep.
Once you ignore it, they go away. So that's how you have to do it.
And we've been at games. We know what these fans say, and some of the stuff is the most vile stuff you'll hear on the planet, right? It can range from everything, and we don't need to discuss what those things are, right? And that part of me feels for the player, right? Especially if it gets personal, like he alleged, right? We don't know who's telling the truth here, right? But if somebody said that about maybe my family, or we've talked about this before, it's such an emotional game, and from that point of view, I can sympathize with Jordan a little bit, but you still have to find a way to just say, tune it out, right? You got it's so hard, but you got to find a way to do it, and that's part of the profession. I wish fans didn't do it, but we all know that they do. But it's still, it's something we have to avoid. So,
Yeah.
it,
That's a discipline part, right? So
mhm,
that's an issue for me. And that's reflective of the coach. Then there are the penalties, right? And it's not just this past game. I'm not even really counting this game. The officiating was so terrible, whatever. But there's been issues all season with penalties. Ed Oliver seems to get a face mask or a personal foul once a game, roughing the passer, stuff like that, man. It's just constant. Jordan Phillips is a walking penalty. Don't get me wrong.
mhm,
I, I think Jordan Phillips is a hell of a player. I don't know
mhm.
if he's I don't know how much of Jordan Phillips is in the plan for the Buffalo Bills in the future, but definitely right now he's somebody that I like having on the
Mhm.
team right now.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if he survives if we don't make the playoffs though, because Josh is 27, Diggs is 30.
Mhm.
These guys are not getting younger, and while I do believe he will get another chance, I don't know if he deserves it. I don't know if he
Yeah.
deserves it. Some of these losses are inexplicable, man. The 39 other teams have had 500 yards, won the turnover margin, and what else? And won the
10
turnover
plus
margin,
10 plus third down conversions in a game,
10 plus
right?
third
If I
down
remember. Yep.
conversions, and there were 39 other teams that had that prior to the Bills, and they all won. We're the first ones to lose. I've never.
Mhm.
It's almost comical, like you laugh so you don't cry, right?
Yeah. I mean, we even had
Um,
some like that in 2021, Whittle. There were 11 teams in NFL history that won 11 games by more than, I believe, 12 points or more. All 11 teams won the Super Bowl except the
the
2021
Buffalo
Buffalo
Bills.
Bills. Think about 2020, Hail Mary. Most the games of the year, Hail Mary 2020, we lost.
Yeah,
2021, 13 seconds, we lost. 2022, Minnesota, we lost. Sunday, Eagles, we lost. Common denominators in all those four games, you could point at Sean McDermott and look at a few things in each game and say, head scratchy moments that could have, maybe not so much to Hail Murray. That one we could, I don't remember all the details on that game, everything, but if you look at all those games, Whittle, you could kind of look at our coach and say, if we just would have had a little more, let's say, if he took a timeout at the right time or didn't take a timeout, if we were a little more disciplined at times, if we had a better setup on defense at the time, and that falls on our defensive minded coach, who's supposed to be a wizard at this. And that's our problem right now. If the offense was blowing this and the defense is playing great, maybe I'd feel a little bit differently. And then we got
right.
to get an offensive guy in here. But this lays at the feet of, Leslie Frazier's gone. We got rid of Ken Dorsey. All his excuses are running out. He's standing there alone at this point.
Yep.
So
Yep. Yeah. I mean, you gotta. It's execution, right? It's execution in key moments. Um, I went back and I looked at the. I went back and I watched the game again. I watched
mhm,
the all 22, and he never adjusted for that deep in route. I mean, I wouldn't even call it a deep in route, just the intermediate in route to Smith. Smith was sitting in the slot and he never adjusted. And that's why I said, you know what? They're killing us with this. If I'm the coach, I'm switching to a man. I'm switching to man.
mhm,
I'm switching man to man. I'm saying, listen, Karen, every time Smith rotates to the slot, you move with him. You follow him wherever he goes, right? And then we'll work the defense around that. Um, but he didn't. And I thought this was actually a good opportunity for us to play some man to man and some combo coverages that I think would have fooled Jalen a little bit better, especially in the second half. But some of the ways that they scored, I mean, it was some of the just like Micah Hyde loses track of a guy, their fourth or fifth receiver. This guy gets behind them. Micah seemed to have submitting issues and couldn't jump. The guy jumps up, grabs the ball, comes down with it, touchdown. It's like,
Mm, frustrating.
bro, like,
Mhm.
yeah, man, like we literally needed one stop in that second half. One turn one of those touchdown drives into nothing, man, and we're fine. But here we are, still with an opportunity, still with some life. What do you expect? What are you looking for coming out of the bye week?
I'm looking for a lot of things that we saw on Sunday, right? This team looked like they were prepared. This team, you know, especially on the offensive side, even the defense, right? In the first half, like, the
Right,
energy was there, the focus, it was there. You could tell, right? And one thing we'll give McDermott credit for, he is 6-0 after a bye. So that's something to maybe hang our hat on for Sunday. I mean, for 2 Sundays from now. So that's what I'm looking for. And a killer instinct, Whittle. I mean, again, these chances early in the game, if we have chances, especially against a team like Kansas City, you cannot leave them hanging around.
right,
Right? Teams like the Eagles, teams like the Chiefs, they're battle tested. Jalen Hurts is a winner. Say what you want. It's unconventional, but that guy wins football games, right? Guys like Mahomes win football games. You cannot give them that little in, especially at home, right? Where they excel to get it done. So that's the biggest thing I'm looking for. It's going to be interesting to see. They've talked about the process, right? The culture, all these things about the Bills, which has been overall really, really good since Bean and McDermott came in together, right?
mm,
Now we're 6-6. There's a lot of disappointment, a lot of noise outside about the Bills, and this may be done. This may be it. I'm really curious to see what this team has come out of the bye. Will they swirl out of control, or will they get off the mat and play one of their best games of the year? I expect the latter. Whether they're going to win or not, that's a different story. But the problem is now we have to win in our probably maybe our toughest game of the year. It's because of all the failures in the middle of the season, which we've come accustomed to under McDermott's rule. And this is why we endorse moving on from McDermott. We're in this situation in the first place.
right. I'm gonna reference this tweet right here. What is the comment from Coach? Coach says defense has to close the game out.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree. I I like the idea of it, but the best unit we have on this team right now is not special teams or defense, it's offense. The offense needs to close the game out, which means we need to have the ball last, right? We got to figure out a way to make sure we have the ball last. Or if that's not the case, Sean McDermott has to figure out a way to stay aggressive. I don't know what it's going to take. You would think after these years, after the years of loss after loss after loss in these close situations, you would think at some point he would determine, I got to coach the fourth quarter like I coached the first, second, and third quarter. So if I'm bringing pressure, if I'm sitting combination coverage, if I'm zone blitzing, if I'm doing all of those things in these first three quarters, continue to do the same thing. Continue to do those things that were successful. Um, I don't want to continue to waste Josh Allen's prime. I don't want to continue to waste Stephon Diggs' time. He came here to win a Super Bowl. We
Mm-hmm.
have a roster capable of doing so. Uh and that and I honestly believe if this team can get to the playoffs, you get Daquan Jones back, right? You get him back sometime between week 15 and week 18 or week 17 or whatever. You get Daquan Jones back. You get to the playoffs. You get through the wild card. You get to the divisional. If you get through the divisional, I think 58 comes back.
Even you think they're playing that close to the vest a little bit? They're just kind of.
Yes. 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 I think you get 58 back. I think if you get past the wild card, you may get 58 back for the divisional. I don't think 58 misses. I don't think there's no way Matt Milano misses the AFC championship game for this team. No way. No way. Um, that would I think that would energize, that would be the shot in the arm that this team would need to get through the AFC and to a Super Bowl and actually to win it. I do think that it can be done. I think this offense has proved it's putting up 33 points on two of the best defenses in the league. Hello, 33 points against two of the best defenses in the league. And if the defense can get some timely stops later in the game and get us the ball back, I think we're going to win a ton of games. It starts in Kansas City. We're comfortable there. We've been there. It's our home away from home. We've won games there. We've won big games there. We haven't won the bigger games there, but we've won big games there. And I think we get back. I think we get to Kansas City. We win that game. I think we beat Dallas and Buffalo. And if we beat Dallas and Buffalo, I think we run the table. I think we run the table.
Widow, we cannot understate the importance of Kansas City. Because and here's how I'm explaining to everyone here. We're currently 3-5 in AFC. Okay. If let's say 10-7 is our record, okay, which winning 5 in a row is really tough to do. We could do it. We know we could do it, right? But the way this team has been the last 7 weeks, I got to see it before I got to see a win at Kansas City before I get to that point, right?
Right.
But if we lose to Kansas City, that gives us 6 losses in the AFC. If you look at Houston, you look at Cleveland, you look at all these other teams who are fighting for the wild card. If they're 10-7, they're probably going to be 7-5 in the conference. I've done the math on a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
The only loss we can afford, and this is even up for debate, is Dallas. We cannot lose to Kansas City. We need the conference win. We got to get Kansas City on it. And I'm telling you, these guys know it. I'm sure they're going to be told this by, whomever's paying attention to it. Like, our odds go so far down. If we lose this game, it's almost going to take a miracle to make the play, unless we get a lot of teams that lose. But a lot of those teams have easy schedules in front of us. So, granted, any given Sunday, but the importance of this KC game, folks, cannot be understated. This is the season. And I do expect the Bills come out with a great effort in 2 weeks. I do not expect anything less, especially considering Josh Allen, Diggs, some of the vets we have. I don't think they're going to allow it. I even if the coach is not up to the task, with certain things, maybe in spite of him, we win. Maybe that's what we do, but I don't expect anything less from this club in about a week and a half.
Yeah, my question to you is, do you believe that this team can run the table?
Yes. But the hardest task is in front of us in a week and a half.
Right.
No disrespect to Dallas. They've had an excellent year. They're kind of like Miami a little bit too. They haven't beaten one of the better teams. They don't have that signature win that you're kind of looking for, but they've dominated teams. They have a nasty defense. We'll get into that matchup in a couple weeks, right? But
yeah,
we got time for that. But what I'm getting is
we're not the Commanders and we ain't the Giants. So
I feel like if we win that Kansas City game, I'm just thinking about the locker room. I'm thinking about how it is coming into work the next day. That team's going to be, it's going to be like a shot of adrenaline. Oh, it would be huge, especially to beat our nemesis, the Chiefs.
Because right? I know that they look at that and they say that's the toughest game we got left. So if you get through that Chiefs game, you got Dallas at home. You love your chances at home. And you're juiced up because you say to yourself, we beat the Chiefs already. If we beat Dallas in Buffalo, all we got left is the Chargers, and they're falling apart.
Yep.
The Patriots, I think we're going to annihilate the Patriots, and then we go to Miami.
And with Miami, we don't listen. Their schedule's a little bit light. Let's say Miami has 12 wins by the time they play us, right? And let's say we can't catch them. who's to say they're not locked into a seed? They say we're going to sit Tua, we're going to sit some players, right? And we just roll through that game, right? So
No, no, no.
I mean, we're getting
Listen,
way ahead of ourselves here, but that is possible. But I'm just saying that's a possibility.
I don't know who this Raul Jimenez is.
You have a Madden challenge, sir.
Yeah, I don't know who this guy is. Oh, is that RJ? Oh, RJ, ain't nobody ducking. Oh, yeah, he said, yeah, yo, it's RJ. Yeah, RJ, ain't nobody ducking you, man.
Thank you, Raul. Great, thanks for the kind words.
Yeah, I
Appreciate it.
was looking at that. I was like, who the hell is Raul? All right. Yeah, so I believe this team. I believe this team is good enough to do it. I just think that they have to do it. Like it's at the point now, like we've lost in the billsiest ways possible for the last 7 years. Excuse me, check that. The last 30 years, we have lost in the billsiest ways possible. Wide right, the Music City Miracle, slipping and falling in the Tennessee game. What else? The Houston game, right? The Houston game where we're up 16 and end up losing the game. Come on, man. Oh wow, fourth quarter loss to Marcus. Man, he was talking so much trash. Oh my god. Anyway, I just think now is the time. Like, if we can go into KC and win, that gives this team a ton of juice. They got Dallas at home. We beat Dallas. Now you're talking, right? And you look at the schedule and you say to yourself, I think we can beat every team after these two, right? So you get through these two games. If you get through them 2-0, you say to yourself, we can beat the Chargers, we can beat the Patriots, and we can beat the Dolphins. And the Dolphins in their season with Dallas at home, at the Ravens, they got to go to the bank. So, kicker, get your boys, man. Y'all better do something. Get those dirty birds together and do something for us. And then they end off the season with Buffalo in Miami. There's a scenario where they go undefeated all the way up until they get to that Dallas game. If they lose to Dallas and they lose to the Ravens and we win out, they're one game in front of us.
And Whittle, are we gonna see Dolphins Jets? Are we gonna see Aaron Rodgers on the field potentially for that game?
No way.
Not a chance.
I hope so. I
I'm
don't think
hoping
so.
so.
But I
Never
hope
thought
so.
I'd say this year, but yes, this is where
Yeah.
we're at, folks. This is where we're at.
Listen, it's not the division is not lost, right? It's slim, but the division is not lost. So I like our chances for that. But what I'm expecting to see out of the bye week, and this is why the bye week right now gives me a glass half full way of looking at this, right? So Joe Brady has taken over as the OC, and he's been able to come in and just kind of take Dorsey's playbook and use it better. Well, now coming out of the bye week, he gets to throw things in there that nobody has seen yet. So Kansas City has no film on what Joe Brady's actual offense looks like. And neither does Dallas. So if we can catch these two teams by surprise with some Joe Brady cooked up work, right? And we bust down these bricks and come out with 2 dubs over the next 2 games, we running the table, man. And
Whittle,
11-6 gets us in there.
just a little comic relief. We were talking earlier about the conspiracy theory stuff, about the calls and stuff. Gotta believe the NFL sitting there saying, do I want Gardner Minshew in the playoffs? Or do I want Joshua Patrick Allen in the playoffs? Maybe we get a benefit of some calls in 2 weeks. Listen, I'm just throwing out a conspiracy thing just to be funny, but maybe, but more so, maybe the bounces go our way, Whittle. Maybe some of the things start going our direction. Um, in a lot of respects, maybe starting Kansas City. Maybe if we just keep playing again, keep playing our game, keep playing to the level that we can. Maybe we get a bounce. Maybe we get a fumble. Maybe we get a good call our way. It doesn't take much. This league is so close. We know this. So we just need McDermott to be solid. Remember we talked about the offensive line? Oh, we just got to make it solid. And that's another frustrating thing. We have a top offensive line this year. We're 6-6. Our quarterback has 33 total touchdowns. We're 6-6.
He's
You ever
like
see that?
top
You ever
five
see that?
in
You
he's
ever see
like
that
top
meme?
five in every passing
Yep.
category in the NFL.
You ever see that meme with Doc Rivers where he's just standing there with that stare? Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt. Like, really? Like all these things you're thinking about, like, what? Like, how are we 6-6 right now? But listen, this bye week, maybe it's a good thing. Give the guys a couple days off. Go with your families. Recover. Maybe we get some guys back. I mean, is it possible we see Dawson Knox in 2 weeks? I have no idea. We haven't heard anything about that. So maybe that's something to look forward to. I expect him back if he's ready to go, and maybe that'll be a little shot in the arm for this offense as well. So that so it's I fully expect this team to put their best effort forward in a week and a half. I would be floored if we laid an egg in this game.
Me too, man. I think we go into KC and win. I'm actually gonna be out there for that game. So
Ooh,
that
all
should be
right.
fun.
Now we have to win this game. Now we must. And
Yeah,
I'm going to that Charger game in 3 weeks. So we got it. This game's got to mean something, Whittle. I don't want to see Kyle Allen on the field for this game for any crazy
100%.
reason. So
100%. So I think we do win in Kansas City. I like our chances big time against Dallas, but we got to see. We got to see it get done.
mhm.
The other thing that I'm looking forward to seeing out of um, the bye week, a more confident James Cook. I think that James Cook misses on some plays where I think that he's too much in his own head, dropping footballs and the fumble, and as soon as you mess up, you're going to the bench, right? You're gonna get benched. So I think he's trying too hard to not make a mistake, and he's making mistakes. So I look forward to seeing a more confident James Cook. And my last thing that I am looking for coming out of the bye week is Andy Isabella as part of this offense. Okay, Andy Isabella is part of this offense. Number 87, if you're listening, we can't wait to see you on the field with the offense. His speed is something that we've been missing since McKenzie left, and oh my gosh, bro. I didn't realize how much we needed that deep threat, that speed guy, until he was gone. And get me Andy Isabella out here to stretch the defense out. Let him get behind the safeties and let's see what Josh Allen's arm can do. Right? I like that. I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets Andy Isabella involved because I do think that I do think there are some snaps where he can help us out.
Mhm.
Same thing with Ty Johnson. Ty Johnson should get an increased role as well. Um, what about you, Beyond? You looking for anything else?
No, I think you touched on a lot of what I was going to say. I mean, what can you say about Johnson? I mean, he's really starting to turn some heads for me. And then where does Leonard Fournette fit into all this out of the bye? Are we going to see playoff Lenny? I mean, now that we've seen the emergence of Johnson, right? With I mean, we're not gonna, James Cook is doing fine, and Latavius Murray. Where does he fit? Are we gonna go 4 running backs? I
Well,
don't think
maybe
we will.
that's five
That's fine. That's true.
because Reggie Gilliam.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, but as the weather
It's
gets colder,
possible. It's
yeah,
possible though, because Ty plays special teams. So um
true.
maybe you get maybe there's no Hardy. I mean, maybe maybe Hardy and Sherfield are inactive.
Maybe that's true, especially Hardy, especially if you have Andy Isabella who could take his role, which we
Yep,
do know. So that's a good call. So I could see that. And yeah, as we move into games against the Cowboys and the Patriots at home, it's going to get colder, as we know. I mean, Buffalo's getting hammered with snow right
right.
now, so it's that time of year, as you know, living in the Northeast. So
Yes, sir.
yeah, we're going to see some of those, some games like that. So it'd be curious to see what we hear about Leonard Fournette going after the bye week. Be curious to see if we hear any Dawson Knox news coming out of the bye week. But give Josh a little rest here. Give everybody. I mean, are you concerned? One other thing I wanted to ask you about Stephon Diggs being out of the game in the first half of times. Is that you think he's nursing some kind of injury? You think something's going on there with
I
Diggs?
don't know. I don't know. Um,
Hmm.
when it comes to Stephon Diggs, I get worried because I know how good this team is with him. I don't know how good it is without him though, and we don't have another. Trying to replace Stephon Diggs is virtually impossible. So
Hmm.
um, I don't know. I don't know. I'm hoping for the best. I think Steph's a gamer. I think Steph's a dog. Uh, and yeah, man, like we get if we get into the playoffs, I think anything can happen. But you're right. We got to get these guys some rest because you know we need a Stephon Diggs and a Josh Allen as healthy as possible for the stretch and for the playoffs. So that's where I'm at.
Absolutely,
All right, man. It's about that time. I think
it
we're gonna
is.
end out right around an hour. This is amazing. We
Yeah,
we
we
hadn't
usually
even.
don't. Yeah,
It's a bye week. It's a bye week. It's a
we did
bye
good
week.
though. Yeah, bye week. It's good. It's hard to
Yeah.
fill. Because we don't have a game to preview, or it's
Hmm.
unusual. But just really quick, I mean, some rooting interest. Obviously, we want the Commanders to beat the Dolphins if possible. Tall
Yes.
order. I'm looking at the Texans and the Broncos. They're both 6-5. I mean, I'm thinking let's see the Texans win because the Broncos hold the tiebreaker over us, and the Browns play out here in LA against the Rams. So hopefully the Rams can. They're a little rejuvenated. They're in the wild card race now. So hopefully, Stafford keeps playing well and they knock off the Browns. So if we get a couple, I can't believe we're even scoreboard watching now, but this is where we are. And I kind of, believe it or not, want the Chiefs to beat the Packers because I don't want Mahomes coming in off a loss. I can't remember the last time they lost two in a row. If has Mahomes ever lost two in a row? I'm not even sure if he has. I mean, that's something I really got to think about. Maybe he has, but it's very, very rare. So I would say, let's if we get those things, that would be great. The Miami ones have reached, but let's go Commanders or the other name that we call them sometimes. So
Left hand up. Who are we? The surrenders.
definitely. So hopefully we'll have a nice result there, and like I said, next week we'll get deep into the Kansas City game. So that's going to be an amazing show. So everybody in the group chat, great lively chat tonight. Love it. Thank you so much for coming on in and making this so enjoyable. Make this hour go super fast. So
Mahomes has never lost 3 games in a row as a Chief.
mhm.
Uh, he's lost 2 games in a row 3 times in his career. Weeks 15 and 16 of 2018, weeks 5 and 6 of 2019, and weeks 2 and 3 of 2021. So very impressive by Goat Mahomes. That's what one of my buddies calls him from
Mhm.
a group chat. He calls him Goat Mahomes. So well, the baby's pissed.
Yeah.
Uh
Baby wants to make
yeah,
an opinion
so
on the game. That's what it is.
right, I know, right? Um but yeah, so listen, everybody that tuned in, thank you so much. I know I say this all the time. Uh big things are coming, new things are coming, but I do say it, and I actually do mean it. We are entering a partnership with Fan First Sports Network. They're going to stream our content um, on a couple other platforms. So yeah, we appreciate you guys for supporting us. Thank you to thank you to my connect that put that deal together for me.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate her, more than she knows. Thank you so much, TC. Got love for you, girl. I appreciate you. Um, and yeah, this is just the beginning. Like we're moving in the right direction, and shout out to the undercovers. Whatever door opens for us, I would love you know, to keep it open for you guys as well. So we'll talk offline and let's make it
Mhm.
happen. Like we're family. Mafia means family, man. This is
That's right. Hmm.
Bill's Mafia. You know what I mean? So, um, but yeah, another episode in the books. I don't even know which. Oh, this is episode 18. So
Episode
we're almost at
18.
the
Yeah.
20 mark. Yeah, yeah, things are moving, man. Things are moving and shaking. So thank you, all of you for tuning in. If you watch us, if you watch us on YouTube, or I mean not YouTube, if you're watching, well, yeah, YouTube. If you watch us on
YouTube.
YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, please go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, like and subscribe to videos. If you go to the page and you don't see the videos on the video side, it's because there's a live tab where all of the live videos on there. So
Hmm.
yeah, man. Um, yeah, we moving. Um, we're on a bye, so we'll be watching football this weekend. Uh, I guess is it stress free? Will it be stress free?
A little bit. Yeah, because we can't
Yeah.
control, it's really because we all know deep down inside, everyone, don't stress too much about the out of town scores because if we win out, our odds are almost 100%. I mean, unless every scenario goes against us, right? Because remember that percentage is going to drastically change if we get to 8-6, 9-6, 10-6. I mean, if we're at 10-6, we may have 80, we may have a 95% chance at that point, right? So
If
don't
we're
worry
ten and
so much about
six,
it. Yeah.
if we're 10-6, and the if we're at 10-6 and the Dolphins lose to the Cowboys and the if they lose to the Cowboys and the Ravens, we have 100% chance on the division because we're gonna go to Miami and kick the fans. We're gonna kick the shit out of the fans, and that's just what it is, man. We are gonna beat Miami in Week 18, whether it's for the division or not.
Yeah, because I just
They're
think
getting swept.
the mentally this team will be in such a high at that point. I
Yeah,
think Buffalo, that's a team that nobody's going to want to face if we make the playoffs.
100%, 100%. But Beyond, once again, thank you, man. I appreciate you uh jumping on this venture with me, and
Thank you.
we're on our way, man. Um,
It's my honor, Whittle. Thank you.
the pleasure, the honor, and the pleasure is mine, brother. Uh, and that's another one in the books, man. So like we always say, go Bills.
Go Bills. Have a great
Thank you,
week.
guys. Have a great week. Thank you for showing us love on Coast to Coast, man. We out of here.